Okay. First thing, I'm going to write an example on how to create a custom-made adapter. One, there are various ways to do it. If you consider our previous example, the previous example was displaying a list of items. We had a form, so which was defined in the second activity, and when the user fills the form, data is brought to a first activity, then we saved into preference and we use the array list of hash map in order to display the items or the particular content in a list view. We had used a simple adapter and previously we had used a array adapter. There is a couple of other adapters also exist, one being a simple cursor adapter, but I will come to the cursor stuff when I discuss about SQLite database. So time to create our own specific adapter. One, in the last exercise, I had a JSON object, right? I had a JSON array also. Why can't I display the JSON array itself directly to the list view? Why should I convert it into an array list of hash map and display? So I'm going to remove that particular part. So that one. Second, uh, is there any way I can get rid of the preference manager also? Yes. So that second part will come when we see the SQLite example. So those two questions might have, been a problem for your previous exercises. I expected some developer comes and asks like, why should I do this kind of roundabout way? Is there any way I can directly do it? So if that is your question, and we are going to answer it. But as usual, since the example is going to be specific to a adapter, and better I create a new project instead of modifying the code. I'm going to open the previous one, and this apt compact something which created automatically. I hope you remember when we first time we tried to create a hello world application. I want to go back, but obvious reason because we have seen all the example already. So now it's maybe a time to have that part also instead of having our own and customizing the Android project. So new Android project. Some name. I'm going to keep the theme now. I'm just unchecking the custom launcher. Instead, I'm going to keep an activity, blank activity. I think this is, see, if you notice, there are various blank activities with the fragment, empty activity, full screen activity, master detail flow, and tabbed activity. Of course, we are going to see them. So these are all going to come now in advanced topic. So if you notice, even the tabbed activity, if you see this kind of small arrow, it means it is listening your swipe events. So you can move through a various pagination. But anyway, I'm going to stick with the blank activity for this project. And time to next. It creates an activity called main activity and finish. This is my first app. Let it complete. Remember, this particular app or this particular example adds a backward compatibility for previous version of devices also. It means it adds the action bar to older devices also. That's the reason it has some more extra and one more app compat some project created for it. So in order to use that, first time when you create it will create one more additional project for you. Make sure you do not close it, make sure you do not modify it, just keep it as it is. And subsequent project creation will have a dependency over it, You can even verify that, maybe going right clicking, going to properties, Java build path, and it has a the library section. If you see it, it is calling an Android support version 7 app compared some jar file from a different project called app compared to v7 libs. So it has a dependency over some other project. So for that process, I'm having that particular project also open. What it does is very simple. It creates a action bar from scratch for older devices having API version 3.0 and lesser. So 3.0 has a support action bar, but for lower devices 2.1, 2, or in fact even 1.6 also. But other than that, it doesn't have much significance. I'm not going to do anything because I'm going to go ahead with whatever file format which is being given.
What is the theme you selected?
Pardon?
What is the theme you selected?
Theme?
You selected while creating the project.
Something theme hollow dark something I remember. I just went with the default one. If you see that, what is that means styles version 11. If you notice what is the theme, it is overriding with the version 11. Something with a light dark action bar. Okay, so we'll see how it is going to look like. It has created some action bar activity. I'm going to assume it is an activity only. The rest is it has created option menu for us by default, which we were creating, but right now it has already created an option menu selector also it has added. And obvious thing, we already know what are all these things. So it is loading a menu file or an XML file from a menu section, and it has its own selections and other stuffs. Rest is all same. I don't see much difference. Only difference is an activity. Of course, it's also an activity. Like a list activity, it is an action bar activity, but I'm not going to consider it as quite serious one. And I'm going to update my code accordingly, but let me verify how things look. The fire emulator. Okay, let it complete its boot process. So meanwhile, I'll start modifying. Primarily, I'm going to need what I'm going to need. Typically, a list view. So activity main file which has got created. Padding left dimension, this all blah blah blah, I really don't want. I'm going to have a text view, let it be a text view, list view in. So I'm going to keep this as a top. Hope you still remember how the relative layout works. So having one component as a reference, another component finds its place. So I'm going to give ID for text view, heading, a typical list view is ready. The heading, I want to give some, okay, let me add some padding. Time to check how it looks in okay, my device, it's still booting. Okay, it's done. Notice the difference since I used a default theme, slightly a different way. Already a menu with the settings is already there. Hello world, and list view is not there because the list view is there, but there is no data, so it doesn't appear there. A dark theme we have used, that's the reason it is appearing slightly darker. Other than this is quite familiar view. Okay, time to have a list view initialized. Given list itself. What's the name I give? This item or what? Item list. Okay, list view is done. Before that, I am going to create an adapter for me. Previously, I was depending on what kind of adapter? In data, it was array list of hash map. I can display any kind of data hereafter because the adapter is going to be a custom made one. So maybe I can prefer to have a JSON array also. Maybe JSON array since we have seen already. But I'm going to use a custom adapter in order to display the item. So if you want to replace it, you can so easily do. Since just an example, I'm not going to have an external class. So what else I want to have? I think it's start with these two is enough. I don't want to populate much. I'm going to hard code it because there is no form. we'll need a exception block. Okay, hope you are getting it what I'm trying to do, because I've created JSON array with the JSON object inside. So each object contains two items, item attribute specified. One is item name and another one is quantity. And I hard coded with the five items. So if you want to verify what is the content it is displaying, you can still put a log statement. Time to have our own tag. Okay, so this is what my JSON array. So up to this we have already created this, or we have already used it. But the problem of this is, previous exercise I had to create a array list of hash map in order to display in a list view. So somewhere another way I had a migration or some sort of conversion part done. So a JSON array gets converted into a array list of hash map. Then it went to a simple adapter and the data was displayed. Right now I can directly use a JSON array instead of doing any conversion. I don't need to convert into a string. Sorry, I don't need to convert into a array list of hash map like a previous condition. For that, I have to write my own adapter. For better clarity, I am planning to write a separate class. I'm going to give my JSON adapter name. Any name can be given. As I already told, it is going to be from a BaseAdapter. Once you extend this particular class, when the parent class as a BaseAdapter defined, is showing some error saying that add unimplemented method. It means a BaseAdapter seems to have containing some sort of abstract methods. If it is there, it will ask you to implement. Same like what we did in the interface section. Any abstract methods found in a parent class should be implemented in the child class. A bunch of methods got implemented. One is showing get count, another get item ID, and something is there. Get view. So let me clear them. See, these are all the abstract method which gets implemented the moment I call the parent, when I add the parent class called my base adapter. You will also get it. But what are all they? I'll explain it. But before, I would like to add a constructor, because the class I need this constructor because I need to inflate a layout inside a adapter. You know that adapter is doing the job of inflating a layout and binding the data with it. So my adapter is also going to do the same. So in order to inflate a layout, I need a instance of a context or instance of an activity or any UI element which is binding to it. So I can get the instance of the context using the constructor one, and I also need which data I want to display in a list view. In this case, it's a JSON array, some name. I'll put a items array. Any name will do. So these two things I need to get as a argument wherever this particular adapter gets implemented. I'm going to update it, but let me go back to main activity. Since I assume I have created my own adapter, now how I am going to add it? My JSON adapter this JSON array. Now your adapter is done. It means you have assume once you have done with your custom adapter, once you are completed your custom adapter, you are going to adapt. Add the list item with this adapter like this. So you are going to initialize one argument being the context, another argument being the input items which is going to be displayed, and all are going to point it to an adapter. That's it, job done. It is your own custom adapter. Whether the data will display, we have to make it display. We have to do it. But right now I brought the context and the JSON array injected into this class through an argument of a constructor. Okay, so few things. I need it to have them as a global so that other methods can access it. Same name I'm giving purposefully. Okay, what it does mean this dot context in this class? Can anyone tell me? What is this dot context or just context? This dot context mean?
Current
Pardon?
class.
Which? Okay.
Current class object.
Current class object mean a object which is defined globally here. So this context mean the context which is globally defined in the class, whereas whereas the context defined here is actually called from a parameter argument. So if you highlight it, it will say okay, this object is this one. If you highlight this particular object is this one. You can use this prefix when you have a name conflict, because both have a same name. Otherwise you can simply say assume this is a name is having x context some x item array. That time you don't need to use it. It's obvious thing can be understandable. So if you really want to have that sort of confusion, you don't want to avoid it, you can use the instance this. Okay. So now this items array and context can be accessible by all the methods. So get count, what is the total count? Items array length, size of an array, that's what the count. Get item in a given position mean JSON array, sorry, items get with the position. Okay. If any exception come, it will throw a null because it is get item ID. I'm going to return the position result. The count is based on the items or array or whatever you supply. So an adapter want to know how much items is going to contain or how much item it's going to display. So the input element in this case, the array which I am trying to display, so I am giving the size of an array by defining items array dot length. If it is array list, item list dot size you need to give. Get item in the given position. Sometime you will have to retrieve a specific item with the given position, which we already do in on item click listener. So in order to get an item in the given position, call that particular array and get the particular object from the given position. So this method also complete. Get item ID, as of now I'm just going to return the index of an items array in this case. Index means starting from 0 to whatever value it's going to. And the final one is very crucial. Get view. This is where I need to plan my UI. This is where I'm going to display the UI, where the view is going to be repeated. Before going ahead, I want to copy something from previous example. I want a layout of a list view. It is called list item, which I want to inflate it. I don't want to design from the beginning, so I'm copying from one of previous project. List item. Why this guy showing error? I don't know. Okay, strings missing. Icon. Okay. I'm going to treat MDPI as my default one. Anywhere it finds, it will put it. Okay. So this particular layout I want to inflate inside the list view, which we have already done, but using custom adapter. Okay, so first get an instance of layout inflator. Layout inflator from the context. Context already have a reference to a layout inflator by calling get system service. Yeah. Layout inflator service. This is a instance of a layout inflator object because this object is having a capability of inflate a layout on the top of another. And this layout inflator object and which is available as a service in the given activity itself. So Using the context, I'm calling the get system service. It is being defined as one of a constant with a value layout inflator. Once the service is invoked, you will have an object initialized called inflator. Using this inflator, I'm going to inflate it. I want to have it as a global. Seems to be I'm done with context. I don't want the context like this. I don't have any other use of context hereafter. Context I can directly call it from here. This is the place I'm going to inflate it. Inflate. Resource r dot layout dot item. Root, in which parent you want to inflate. Of course this particular parent already available. Attached to root I'm going to set to false. I'll let you know what does this false mean. It's going to say some warning, but let it discard for some minutes. The convert view mean the list view, the adapter by default contains a simple view for you, and I'm going to attach this particular r.layout list item view on the top of this particular view. Right now it is blank. Now it has been initialized with the layout inflated on the top of it. Right now convert view has some view attached to it. That is nothing but from r.layout list item. Okay. Now I need to initialize. So in that I have two text view, I remember. Item name, and it is available from convert view. Find view by id r dot id dot I name. I've initialized the text view. Only difference is it is having a convert view prefix because it is actually there in the inflated layout. I'm calling this id. It is not from the parent. And I also have another text view. Finally return the convert view, and the value I am going to attach, set text items array get JSON object position get string item name, right? Item. In the getView method, first thing I inflate a layout and initialize the convert view. Of course, convert view is already available as an argument which may have already initialized, but it will have a blank view. The blank view is right now going to be populated with the layout inflated by using this particular layout inflator instance. nothing but r.layout list item. Right now the convert view will hold. Inside the convert view, right now since it is inflated, and I initialize the two text views which is defined inside the particular layout r.layout list item with the same way, but except only difference is it is actually in the converted view. And then attach the value from the items array with obvious method like items array get JSON object position and give and map the values to it, and finally return it. There is one unconditional layout inflation view adapter should use a view holder pattern, something it is there. I'll come back to that, but at least we have done with the adapter. So time to test. The data is there. Now this particular list view has got populated directly by a JSON array. One, there is no hash map of anything. It could be any type of data. One, and the data is getting populated because we have customized the adapter in such a way it can take any data type, whereas my JSON adapter takes a input of JSON array, and that JSON array is called and made it as a global here, and finally it has got inflated on the top of r.layout list item and done. Of course your simple adapter, your array adapter, everything does the same work behind the screen. Right now we have seen it in detail, that's all. Most of the adapter what we so far written is having the similar technique in order to populate the data, but instead we assumed okay the argument if we give it will be mapped with this and it will be mapped with that, but how it is mapping, it is actually mapping in this way. The base adapter has an abstract method called getView. The getView is called whenever the user either have the list view loaded or scrolled or whenever whatever happens to the list view. That has an instance of a position, convert view, and the parent. Parent is nothing but your list view. Could be any layout or anything else. For example, set content view, whatever came, that is a parent for this particular adapter. Convert view means the view which you are going to inflate it, which you are going to add it. That's the reason they have given it as a convert view. And the position, the index of the particular view. And I'm giving a value to a convert view by duly inflating it, and from the layout called r.layout list item, I initialize the text views and then attach the data and finally return it. So this will make sure a data is populated from a list view. But it has a problem here, but it is still good, no problem. Data appears here. Still have a click events and everything here defined. The primary problem with this, even Eclipse tried to say you should use a view holder pattern. Use a recycled view passed into method as the second parameter or smoother scrolling. Yes. The problem is, I already told you this get view will be called whenever users scroll it. You would scroll the item so fast, it means every single scroll this particular block will be called. So the layout inflator will be working pretty busy in order to recreate and modify the data, and in order to do, for example, if an item is 10 items displaying, you are scrolling into 100 item. So each and 100 times this block would have been called every minute or every second based on whatever microsecond you have put. So we have to avoid it instead of reloading every time. So what Android suggests is use a view holder pattern. View holder pattern is nothing but create a class, an inner class called any name, but I'm going to give it as a holder or view holder itself. A class can have an inner class, so no problem. Define your text views inside. Okay, from the view holder, define a view holder here. Check whether the convert view is null, mean there is no that convert view is not inflated. Then bring all this block here. The difference here is from the view holder, item name, quantity. It means, remember, if you are scrolling a list view, it is displaying from 0 to some, assume the list view displaying some 100 items. It has to display 100 items, but only first 10 is displaying. So this is how the view holder is displaying. A list adapter of a particular view holder is displaying only 10 items to start with. Now the user will scroll slightly and go to display another 10 items. Maybe the previous 10 items has gone hidden and new 10 items has got loaded. So totally right now list view or the view holder has populated 20 views or 20 items. If the user decide to go entirely again mean another 10 10 and everything will be loaded. Assume the list view has currently moved across 50 items. Now user want to go back. You want to go back to the first item. That time the view holder not required to recreate the inflator because already view holder displayed it quite some time back. So view holder may have a reference to it. It not necessary to recreate the inflator. So in that case, I am checking whether the convert view is null. If it is there, initialize view holder and whatever object associated and initialize them. And also save the reference of view holder also when it is first created. Assume if a convert view is already existing because the item is already populated and it's going to redisplay it. Now get the view holder instance directly from JSON Object, so I need to cast it. Tag is used for additional data to be packed, so it could be any generic object can be tied up, could be a number or any object. So I am binding or tying up the instance of the view holder for each convert view. If the convert view is empty, it will create a new view holder and initialize the objects. If a view holder is already existing or convert view is already existing, it will simply get the instance of the view holder from the existing convert view get tag. Now view holder is populated. This will make sure your view holder pattern is attached. The only difference is the status of a view holder. I can explain it by adding more content. Because I need more data in order to be displayed. something to have a differential view. Did I mistake any? Oh my god, something I'm missing here. That's a problem of the copy paste. So I'm assuming everything is fine. Okay. Now if you notice, LSView would displaying a lot of data, huge number of data. So approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. According to my view, a list view is capable of displaying, a list view holder is capable of displaying 6 items or 6 views at a time. So this is my view holder capacity. So only 6 items at a time. It will be different than depending on the respective phone screen. So when a very first time the application is loaded, view holder only populates these 6 items alone. Or maybe this one also because it's slightly visible. So 7 items in this case. So it doesn't load the entire array list, or it doesn't load entire array or JSON array, whatever it is. It only loads only the very first 7 views. Now 8th view would have got loaded, 9th view, 10th view. As I scroll, the respective views will be loaded. Internally, adapter works in this way. It only loads the specific views. It doesn't load all the views. So as the user scrolled, the rest of the views got loaded. Assume now some 20 views got loaded. Now user wants to go back. If it go back, it doesn't mean the view is again getting reloaded. No. Totally 20 views are already been loaded. So view holder will have a reference to it. So from the existing reference it will load, it won't reload it. How it is possible? Because of the view holder pattern, whatever we have added here. It means the very first time a new item, I already told you get view will be called every time you scroll it. So when a new item getting added, the convert view will be blank and initialize each item and each object, and very first time the convert view is blank mean this block will be executed, this particular block won't be executed, else block won't execute, and then it will attach the value. So this is applicable every time when you scroll like this, scrolling down whatever maybe. When the user want to go back, this else block will be executed because these views already loaded before. So when he is going back, it will simply get the reference of the view holder from already existing convert view tag, because the convert view will not be empty that time because the view is already loaded. So this particular pattern will avoid recreation of the particular inflator calling multiple times. Once it is loaded, your scroll view will be quite smoother. If you do not use this mechanism, the list view will be working relatively hard. You won't notice the particular performance when the items are less than 1000 or whatever it may be. But if items goes beyond maybe some 10,000 records, you'll see a slightly a sluggishness if you do not use a view holder mechanism. Loading at that time, the entire view will get loaded. So if you have 10,000 views or 10,000 items, so that get view would have been called 10,000 times. That is a heavy object creation. If you use this vholder mechanism, only 10 times this will be called. So 10,000 and 10 times, it's obvious performance benefit. And using the vholder mechanism, it's been possible. It's just a mechanism pattern. It is not something specific to Android object itself, because the adapter loads in this way. I want to verify it. Going to put a log. If you notice, my array list contains more than 20 or 30 items. Oh, sorry, JSON array contains more than 30 items. But if you see the log printed only 0, 1, 2, 3, that's it. It means only those views has got loaded, nothing else. Rest is not loaded. That's what we need to infer. So maybe some 4 or 5 items has got loaded. And I'm going to scroll a little bit. Oh my god. Slightly went down. So see 7, 8, 9, the rest loaded and slightly went back, and 5, 4, 3. So if you notice, the adapter displays only a specific items to be loaded at a time. It's not loading the entire items. As I scroll, 10, 11, 12, 13 has got loaded. Slightly scroll more, the additional thing loaded. And I am going to go back, the remaining loaded. Remember, it depends on your scroll fast. For example, you may scroll it quite faster. It doesn't mean everything will get loaded. Only the specific item, when the view becomes static, things will be having loaded. So in this case, the adapter mechanism works in that way. Only view holder how much it can display, that item is only getting loaded. So it is not synchronous like always like 0, 1, 2, 3 and starts. It depends on the particular scroll position where the user has kept. So I'm going to do it from the beginning. Let me go to the slightly sticky. Let me clear it. How to clear this? Now I'm scroll slightly. The additional one, 7th one got loaded. Again slightly. 8, 9, the rest of the thing has got loaded. It means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is already loaded. An additional item has got loaded now. Now, when I go back, again it is reloading 0, 1, 2. So I want to make sure the already loaded item not to be populated one more time. For that thing, what I have done a small mechanism in such a way, I attach a view holder. Every time when it is created, it is saving the instance of the view holder in the convert view itself. Mean the convert view will be populated and every time. So when the 0th item loaded, this convert view would be having a reference on where the convert view will have a value. When it goes to 2nd, 3rd, subsequently this convert view will get populated, and convert view will have some value, so hence it won't call null when it is coming back. So when it is coming back, it will load the convert view from the existing instance itself and load the view holder, and then the data will be attached. You can altogether skip this also, but you won't even notice major performance problem. So I'm going to remove it. I'm just going to go back to our previous condition. This part not needed. But the problem is the convert view will be every time initialized and inflated, even though when the user goes scroll down or scroll up. So ending up creating a duplicate object which is already loaded, but it will be working hard to create them again. So typically the data will be loaded. I don't see much difference, much problem, but when the data size is going bigger, I would recommend you to keep the view holder. Hardly you see a sluggishness, but when data size goes beyond some 1000 or 10,000, you'll see a sluggishness. Even if you can open your phone book, try to scroll it. If it goes smoother and there is a view holder pattern added, if it struggles something, maybe there is no view holder pattern has got added. Maybe, but most of the modern phone will, of course, will have a view holder pattern added. But if you see some examples, maybe if it is struggling to load the list view, it is having somewhere it is stuck, mean the view holder mechanism might not be present. So I'm going to recommend having a view holder design pattern added. Okay. This is only for our reference. Now so this is our custom made adapter which displays the list directly from a JSON array. What's the problem every time the last bench, and what kind of discussion going on there? Every time when I say a topic, you people see among yourself and see your faces. What's going on there? Do you have any answers? Anything to be discussed? I really don't like this kind of attitude. First point, I'll be much cooler if I notice you people are cooperating. If I feel you guys are not cooperating, I'll simply go away with the topic. I'll finish it off. I'm no problem. I can get back my payment anytime. I don't need to struggle this much and give a sort of example, maintaining a website, trying to record everything, and giving each questions answered, refer whenever required, do a practice. I'm doing my work because I'm feeling okay. I need to do some hard work in order to make you people professionals. If you do not need it, no problem. I can simply come and cover the topic. I can get my payments and go off. Do you really want that to happen? I'm not going to encourage this kind of thing. If I'm discussing, if I'm talking, I want entire attention to be paid here. If you really want to have a handshaking, anything to be discussed among you, and when I'm talking, doors are wide open. You can simply go away and have your discussion going on there. I already told you, my mood will change anytime if I notice something, what I'm seeing, something unwanted at this point of time. Whatever your assessment or whatever your previous session, how it was, I really don't know. I want this particular session to be covered in such a way people are putting in, and 100% cooperation, and you are showing some interest. That is driving me. If something goes out of scope, I don't need to struggle. Do you really know how much these guys are paying per day for me? You know that? You don't even know how much they are paying. Your CTS is paying huge. I don't want to say per day I'm getting paid more than your salary. Your monthly salary is my day salary. Why I'm coming here? I'm putting my entire experience in place and trying to explain something out of context. It is not there in your manuals. If it is there, it is very difficult to understand. If you really have some other work, you can do it. I'm no problem. I'm explaining because I know this topic is slightly difficult. If you have some sort of understanding already, no problem. But there are other people studying here. They don't need to get suffered because of you people. Like, if you have some other thing to be discussed, you can go out and speak and take your time. I'm not going to ask anything. I really don't want this kind of mess up happens. I'm watching everybody. That's what I said. I'm seeing everybody. I'm seeing every day. I'm seeing your face. I'm making eye contact every time when what is happening in between you. I can simply see you and find whether you can understand, you are not understanding. Everything I can track. Been in this industry from almost 14 years. It will just few seconds to take to assess you. In this industry, attitude is very important. Down to earth, you have to be. Then only you can learn it. If you have some other problem, it's very difficult. That's why I said, whatever the problem you have, the only solution you can get from your knowledge. That's why you are here. I don't want to see this kind of discussion or anything behind the screen is happening. If I notice, I'll tone it down. I won't even say like, I don't need to do it. I simply come and every day and say, okay, this is what you need to say, and put a slideshow and simply go off. Okay, take it as a last warning. Fine. So view holder pattern we have added in order to lazy load the content. Lazy load the content means load the content once the scroll is moved beyond to a view which is not holding. So view holder in this context, what I am trying to say, this particular box, a view holder is considered. So a list adapter displays only specific items when it is loaded, irrespective of any count it has in an array. In this case, my array contains more than 20 or 30 items, but my view holder made sure only 5 or 6 items has got loaded. Adapter made sure only 5 or 6 items loaded depending on the capacity it has. Rest it hasn't loaded. Remember, beyond to this, the view has not been created. It is created in runtime only when it is scrolled down. The rest of the view is getting created, an object is being populated, value is getting added. It happens in microseconds, so you won't notice any problem. But however, this particular terminology is very good for loading a bunch of items, but inflation is not something so easy every time we can load it in microsecond. So when I come back, already loaded views also recreate. In order to avoid that already loaded view, I can simply get it from the memory which is already there. In order to avoid that, I have a view holder pattern. View holder is nothing but a simple class where my text view or whatever is there I am declaring there. Through the view holder, the convert view get instance of the view holder every time when it is first time created, and later if the convert view is already existing, it will get it from the respective get tag and populate the view holder directly instead of coming to this whole bunch. It means a 50% the inflation part is reduced. It means the layout inflator 100 times would be calling in a very first time, means after adding the view holder it will be calling only 50 times. So 50% performance benefit you are going to get, and that too very first time. And when the view the scroll view is when the list view is fully loaded and it has reached to a end of the item and it doesn't recreate any layout inflator, or it doesn't inflate anything from the custom adapter from the beginning, it always loads from the existing convert view and simply have the item values associated. The value associated to the respective widgets is happening at the end of this get view. Make sure you don't put this part inside here or there. This should be outside only. It's only for initialization purpose. Your view holder and inflation part is kept in that way. Okay. So This is going to be slightly different topic. Right now I populated the data using a JSON array. Now you can go back to your code, shopping list 2.1. You can remove the array list of hash map. You can simply directly load the JSON array. This is one way. Otherwise, you can create your own custom array list itself, array list of some object, and you can directly populate in this way also. So I'm going to push the source code to a developer site, and I want you to exercise it first. Second, I want you to modify the previous exercise with this adapter added. Last exercise we use simple adapter, I remember. You are going to modify with this adapter. That exercise I am not going to write. I want you to migrate it. But of course, if at all any question comes, of course I am ready to help you. So make sure you first do this exercise. Maybe what's the time now? Oh my god. So after the break, you can start this exercise. And nobody, it's almost 4:25, right? What happened to your break? Nobody even alerted me. Pardon? Okay. Yeah, you can go for break. Meanwhile, I'll put it in our website. Yep. Okay, okay. List view already has a on-click listener, right? On item click listener. So when you click on an item, it doesn't differentiate whether you are clicking on this list view, or you are clicking on this image, or you are clicking on this particular 10. It doesn't differentiate. It only clicks the whole view itself. But sometime you will want a different level of action. For example, I want to listen only with this particular image getting clicked. I don't want to check the whole item to be clicked. I want to listen only this particular image to be clicked. In that way, you can transfer the control. For example, setting false will make sure it is not part of the parent class. It is an exclusive class. For example, layout inflator has its own event listener also. If you set to true, what will happen? It will merge with your parent itself. So you cannot detect the individual item clicks. So setting false will make sure it is not merged with the pattern, only inflated on the top. So you can detect each item clicks of the different buttons if you are keeping it. If you set it true, you cannot detect its event listener. The whole thing will be considered as a single one. So if you set false only, the individual thing will be required. I kept it false for safer side because I am planning to add a checkbox here. I want to keep a checkbox here. That time I want to detect the checkbox whether it is clicked or not. So in a special case I would require it. For that purpose I already kept it false. Okay. So false will make sure it is not included in the parent itself. If it's set to true, it will be included into the parent itself.